Let's get to Reed right now on the Supreme Court hearing oral arguments here on the president's vaccine mandates for the country. Brian Claypool joins us right now, the famed civil rights attorney. Brian, where do you think this is going?
Oh, hey, Neil, great to see you again and Happy New Year. You know, a lot of people have politicized this vaccine mandate and the Supreme Court ruling on it, hopefully today. But this really isn't about politics. This isn't about red or blue, because remember, you and I talked a couple months ago about a case in Texas that affirmed the vaccine mandate, and that's a red state. This also is not about the Supreme Court reeling in the President Biden and the executive branch. There's been a lot of talk about that. What this is really about is public health. And given the comments that I heard from Chief Justice Roberts today and Justice Kagan, I believe that the U.S. Supreme Court is going to affirm implementation of these vaccine mandates, Neil. I mean, did you hear what Roberts said? He asked point blank one of the lawyers. Roberts asked one of the lawyers point blank, hey, don't you think OSHA is in a position to mandate what's best for the workplace? I mean, that's a signal, right, that the court is leaning toward implementing the vaccine mandate. And then Kagan came out and said point blank, hey, isn't the vaccine the best way to curb this pandemic?
Yeah, I expected that from her. I didn't really expect that comment from Roberts, to your point. So you think they'll uphold the mandates themselves?
Yeah, well, just so your viewers are clear, the Supreme Court's not ruling technically on the merits of the vaccine yet. They're ruling on whether the vaccine mandate should be implemented while the lower courts are ruling on these issues that are pending in the 5th and 6th United States Court of Appeals. But that said, Neil, I mean, their decision today is going to be a precursor to what they're going to do inevitably down the road when they have to rule on the merits. And I think you're right. Justice Roberts' comments is really telling, because in order for this mandate to stay in place, you're going to need 2 conservative justices to go with the 3 liberals, and Roberts seems like he's headed in that direction, and you need 1 more. One other quick point, Neil, you made a great point a couple months ago when we were on the air. You asked me a question, something like, hey, don't these mandates aren't they determined by how bad the vaccine is or how bad the pandemic is? You said, well, if the pandemic's not that bad, maybe these mandates won't hold up. That was a great point you made, because guess what? We're in the middle of this Omicron rage, right? We had 37,000 cases in LA County yesterday. And I think that is going to weigh heavily now on the minds of the justices. And just so your viewers know, too, 66 million people in the U.S. don't have a single vaccine. So I think the climate is right for the U.S. Supreme Court to uphold the implementation of this vaccine mandate.
That's really wild. Thank you very much, Brian. Brian Claypool, following these developments. Yeah. Oh, real quickly, Brian, we might get a decision on this fairly soon, right? This is not going to be one of those that could take months.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is what's called an emergency docket. And I would expect a ruling. I think there was a delay now in the second part of the oral argument. If there was, I think you're going to get a ruling no later than Monday or Tuesday of next week.
Wow. All right. Well, you're right about everything, so I'm just going to put money on it. Brian Claypool, thank you. We'll see. We'll see what happens here.